we're going to do a little segment. We're going to order off the menu, a restaurant menu. And we want to start with, these are guys that when you're looking at a menu, you look at the appetizers. You're like, you know what? I'm hungry. I need to eat something right away. It's not going to fill me up like the main course, but he could get me a flex play, something like that. So for me, my first appetizer is going to be Curtis Samuel. Okay. I think that this guy is playing in the spot that the Commanders had envisioned for him. I talked to some people down there. He's going to get some carries. He's going to get some targets. And I think that he is a guy that Wentz can count on. And you put the ball in his hands, he's going to make plays. And I feel like he's not quite, we're not saying that he's a wide receiver one, but he's just that appetizer that, it just tastes good and it just get me ready for the main course.
I like that. I think that's a legitimate one. I've got one for you at the same position, but this is an appetizer that could either A, whet my appetite for more, or B, just make me horribly ill. So it's a little bit of a gamble, and I'll acknowledge that, but it's one of those, you see it on the menu, you say, man, that there's real potential there. This could be amazing. But again, you're not sure about how it's being prepared back there. And so the guy that I'm talking about is Devontae Parker. 2 targets the other day, 3, including a penalty, only 1 catch for 9 yards. It was a bad matchup. Okay. It was a bad matchup against Xavier Howard. The Patriots need someone who can win on the outside. The Dolphins were basically giving the Patriots the double middle finger, saying, you can't beat us out wide. You can't beat us down the field. We're going to play single high safety. We're going to blitz the hell out of you. We're going to play the run on the way to the quarterback, so you're not going to be able to run the football either. The Patriots can't live like that. The reason they brought Devontae Parker in, the reason they drafted Tyquan Thornton, even though he's not available right now, is because they knew they couldn't play the way they played last year with no threats along the boundary and no threats down the field. Parker is still really their one option in that regard. And so they have to get him the ball down the field to soften up opposing defenses. I think they will be forced to throw Devontae Parker the ball. And if he can come up with a couple of explosive catches for you, then maybe that's all you need for an appetizer. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Brian, what are you ordering? So, an appetizer for the table, or what do you got?
Yeah. So I'm going to stick, we'll go 3 wide receivers here, the 3 of us, which is always you never know how that's going to turn out. But, you guys went with a couple of veterans in new places. I'm going with a rookie, Garrett Wilson from the Jets. Now, I know he was pretty busy target-wise week 1. The situation there at quarterback with Joe friggin' Flacco doesn't really fill you with a ton of confidence. But he'll be back in the confines of Cleveland this weekend. He played plenty of games there over the years with the Ravens. I saw a clip of Wilson making like 6 guys miss. I think he could have avoided that tackle if he were in a phone booth. So I really believe in him. I think if you're the Jets, don't you want to, you're not going to win many games with Flacco right now. So just try to pepper Wilson with targets, get him ready for a big role when the other Wilson, Zach, returns. I think he can do some damage, even if it's just in garbage time and they're playing catch up.
Brian, I like that. That is an appetizer I would not have ordered off the menu, but I would try. Okay. Let's get into the main course, okay? Because this is where you got to get filled up. And the guy I would order for my main course is Najee Harris, okay? But you know what? I'm sending him back to the kitchen. He's a little overcooked. I am not happy about this. So now I'm going to go back at the menu, and I'm going to try something different that I normally wouldn't have. Christian Kirk, okay? I think that this guy is going to be the man down there for the Jaguars. I think they're going to be in a lot of negative game scripts, a lot of balls thrown his way. I feel like he can be a guy that you wouldn't expect, okay, to be a main course, but I think he's going to become that this year, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. Add a little salt and pepper, and I'm ready to go with Christian Kirk.
So I'm somebody who likes to eat and eat a good amount and overeat at times. But I have a couple of cheap options, and I might be going with a couple of main courses here. Okay. So I'm seeing 2 things that I like. They're cost effective. And so I feel like I can have both, and it'll satiate me, but it also won't hit me where it hurts in the wallet. And I'm going to bring up another name that we already talked about, Ramondre Stevenson. And I said, hey, people might not be thrilled that he doesn't get all of Ty Montgomery's work, but he will get some of that work. And we just talked about how Mac Jones, dealing with illness, dealing with injury, Patriots are going to have to rely on the run. So even if he's sharing time with Damian Harris, I think he's still the most talented back in this Patriots backfield. I think they're going to lean on him a lot more. I talked to people with the team who were surprised. It wasn't just Kendrick Bourne that people were surprised didn't get more work. Ramondre Stevenson came up in conversations that I had as well about the Patriots understanding that they need to get him more work. So that's one. You probably didn't have to pay a ton for him when you took him in your redraft leagues. Another one that I like, though, and I'm going to go to the AFC South here as well. Kyle Phillips off the dollar menu. Okay, the rookie receiver out of UCLA ends up with 6 catches for 66 yards. He clearly is trusted by Ryan Tannehill. They're driving the field late in that game. Tannehill pumps it to him deep down the field to get the team into field goal range. To me, he's already one of their most dependable options offensively. And so that's somebody that, heck, he might even be available to you on your waiver wire right now. And I think he's a guy in a PPR league who could, if he gets into the end zone, end up being a satisfying main course for you.
Phil, you just went like surf and turf. You just kind of combined 2 entrees. Yeah. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Brian, what do you got?
Kyle Phillips is like, if you ever been to one of those fancy places where they bring you out dessert and it's just like a little like gummy thing, but it's like, no, trust us. It's the most flavorful thing you'll ever taste. But I guess, Mike Vrabel leaning on a small, shifty slot receiver in his offense. I wonder where he got that idea. But speaking of that, maybe it's just the matchup that we've talked about and the one I'll be watching in person on Sunday that has this guy sticking in my brain. But I'm going to go with Tom Brady of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a tough matchup this weekend against New Orleans. The Saints usually have his number, but that's exactly why I just have this feeling in my gut that he's going to bounce back from a pretty disappointing fantasy performance for him the other night against Dallas. He didn't have to do much because the Cowboys were pretty miserable, but it just seems like one of those spots where, people start to wonder, does he still have it? What's he really going to be this year statistically? He'll probably come out firing and drop 4 touchdowns on the Saints, and everybody will be discussing the Bucs as Super Bowl contenders again.
Tom Brady, we know a little bit about here. Yeah, that's a Tom Brady's always an interesting main course.
Sunday with him not there. It really is.
I like it. I'm going to throw
that's
one
like
more.
One of those meals, Moose. That's like one of those meals that you might have. You go back to an old restaurant that maybe was your spot, like with your old flame, and you have that dish that you used to like to get together, and it's been a while, but you remember it is. You've moved on to your different places in your life right now, but you are reminded that this is actually an incredible dish, and it's okay to go back to it every so often.
I like that. I'm going to throw one out just a little. If you guys have one, great. If not, so I'm going to throw a little dessert here. Okay, Cam Akers. Okay, I feel like a fire's been lit under this guy's butt. I know I'm coming out of nowhere with this. This is a dessert I thought was going to be delicious in the first week, and it wasn't. But I'm going to try it again. I'm not saying I'm firing him up this week. But I'm just saying, I think the guy's coming out of the doghouse, and I would try that for a dessert down the road here.
You're much more adventurous.
Yeah, no, I'm saying something to take home.
You're way too adventurous here. This is a dessert that made me nauseous. It had me doing things back at home that I wasn't proud of, but I had no control over, and I just can't see myself putting myself through that experience again. So I'm going to need at least a week off before I go through that thing one more time.